Welcome to this tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you how I built this wood base for my treatment ancient, and this kind of wood bases can be made in a bunch of different ways with a bunch of different kinds of grass and flock, and this is the way I decided to do it, and you are welcome to try it the same way, and I hope you like this tutorial. So a finished paint job is not really complete until you give it a base, a good base, so that it ties in together the whole thing. And I'm going to start with a blank base, and what I decided to find first was some bark to use as rocks and features for the terrain. So I went outside and I got a couple of pieces of this tree bark that you can break with your fingers and just place it as if it were rocks onto the base. Tree bark is very interesting. It looks kind of in between like a rock, and also it can look like wood. And to glue it down I'm going to use Sapagap. This is just my regular super glue. This glue is very good, but it takes a lot of time to cure. So if you have something better, just use that. But this is the one super glue that I mostly use, because once miniature set, they don't come off. Once that's dry, I'm going to use just regular white glue, and with this glue I'm going to start painting the whole base so that I can use some fine sand on top of it. And this is a very simple step. Just make sure to use a brush that you don't care about anymore because it's old or something, and just start spreading this glue around the base. Next is time to put some sand on the base, and because this is very awkward for my setup, it's kind of difficult to see, but just kind of dump the model there and get it into the sand and just take it out. Make sure to tap the excess off and let it dry though. And next I'm going to use some black paint. It doesn't matter what kind of black paint you use. You can use a cheaper brand if you want. Here I'm going to use Vallejo, and I'm going to start painting the whole base black. This process takes a while, so I would recommend to base a whole bunch of models at the same time so that you don't feel like you're wasting a bunch of time letting things dry. So you can do that, or you can use textured paint as well. That'll work well to paint and add sand at the same time and save you some kind of time. But again, spreading textured paint onto the base also takes time, and it's a little more meticulous, and it gets old quickly, so it depends, just a personal preference. Once that's done and dry, I'm going to use right oxide, and I'm going to use a very heavy Drybrush. At first I thought that I was going to give it just a Drybrush, but it's barely noticeable, so I went in a little bit heavier. And instead of just focusing on the raised surface, I focused this color into making variation of brown and black onto the base, like in random patches around the surface. So it really doesn't matter, just spread this around and give it a very dark and brown look to the overall base. Next comes the real Drybrush. For that I chose Sandy Dust. I think another color that works well is Valor Brown, but it gives a little bit more yellowish appearance to the ground, and that's good. Depends on what kind of soil do you want on your forest. Mine, I went for a very dark and very like humid, fertile ground. To contrast the very bright colors of the miniatures. I suppose that's why I did it. but it's still a forest, so all of the flock is going to give a lot of color to the base at the end. So it really doesn't matter. So just make sure to dry brush this color around and let it show on the raised surfaces of the sand. Once that's done, I'm going to dry brush the rocks, and for that I'm just going to use Administratum Gray. You could spend a little bit more time and making the bark look like actual wood if you want. I just wanted it to look like rock or like very old bark that has been lying around there for a long time. And also tree trunks most of the time look gray, not really green or brown, unless they I don't know. Some of them look green and brown, but most of them, if you look around, they are like a warm gray. So I just wanted this to look like an old rock or a very old log that is just on the floor. So for the next step of this tutorial, you can just get any flock that you want and use it. I went with Woodland Scenics. This is coarse turf, dark green. You can start by looking at pictures of forests, and you can see there's a lot of variations depending on the depth of the forest or the diversity of plants on the area or whatever. So they aren't the same every time. There are very different kinds of forests, so it doesn't really matter which kind of turf you want to use. And also, this is not we're not trying to be super realistic. This is kind of an art. You have an artistic license to do whatever you want. So I decided at the end for this dark green turf to be the main color of my base. So I just use it very liberally around the model to make it the dominant color of the base. So as you can see, there's nothing new about this. You're just using the white glue to make patches of where you want your turf to go, and just sprinkling it on, and just stepping on it to put it down on in contact with the glue, and just stay there. And also you can tap the excess off so that you don't get any excess on the miniature. Next, I have a little bit of this battlefield grass that I use on my other tutorials. This is, in contrast, a very bright green that almost looks yellow on the camera. It doesn't look that yellow in person, but it's very bright. So I'm going to use it to put a little patches here and there, but very small, like very recessive on the environment, like they're very struggling to compete with the other darker green grass. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just putting little patches and just flocking them as regular when we flock any other kind of miniature. Next, and this is the finishing touch, I'm going to use bushes. And this is Woodland Scenics forest green bushes, and that's what I'm going to use. This is a very clumpy kind of flock, so it only comes out as clumps, and these look like very good bushes, but because they are clumpy and they don't tend to stay down on the miniature, you have to use super glue instead of just white glue, and that's what I'm doing here. And just place them around the model where you feel they would look good, and that's it. So this is the finished result. This is a wood base that I came up with for my wood elf 3-man ancient, and I think I'm happy with it. I really like the variation, and from tabletop distance it really looks like a forest. I don't know what you think. Let me know in a comment if you like this video, and let me know what you would like to see next. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I hope to see you on the next video. And stay after the video if you would like to know how you can support my channel.
You stayed. Great. Thank you very much for watching my video, and if you would like to further support my channel, you can become my Patreon on Patreon. You can pledge as little as $1 a month, and you are helping me create more and better content. If you can't, that's fine, because you're helping my channel a lot just for watching and sharing, but you can read all of the details if you follow the link in the description below. I hope you can spare $1 to make this hobby of mine a job for which I can get paid. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.